From Kanye West calling out George Bush on live television after Hurricane Katrina, to Jeezy seemingly predicting the future when he released My President several months before the election of Barack Obama, hip-hop has always had a long and complicated relationship with American politics. The new documentary, Hip Hop and the White House, directed by Jesse Washington and narrated by Jeezy, examines the relationship between the most powerful American culture movement of the past 50 years and the most powerful position on the planet, the President of the United States. Let's take a look.
NWA and those guys connected me because it was in the language that I speak.
The Clinton years, we saw the growth of hip-hop.
When Ye said George Bush doesn't care about black people, that was supremely important.
Black people were seen on television begging for help, and nobody came.
Yeah, that was one of the more stunning moments. Joining me now in studio is the writer, director, filmmaker, Jesse Washington. Jesse, thanks so much for taking the time to be here tonight. Great documentary. Took me back to some of my rap roots when I was in high school. Hip Hop in the White House, you highlight the contentious relationship between hip hop and American politics. What drew you to examine this?
Just really my life story. You know, I grew up when Reagan was in the White House, and I was on the receiving end of a lot of policies from the president that caused harm in our communities in terms of poverty, removal of resources. So I saw firsthand what was going on. I saw crack arrive in my neighborhood. I didn't really know what was behind it until later. And so my history with that, and also growing up as a part of hip hop, being a DJ, being in the park while people were inventing this culture, really immersed me in the subject and allowed me to get back to it in a rather fulfilling way.
What's fascinating about this, and what I think for viewers who weren't immersed in the rap culture ever, there's some really fascinating history inside of this, especially Ronald Reagan being the first to bring sort of hip-hop to the White House, but why he did it is just so fascinating. The documentary looks at legislation passed in the 70s and 80s. It created conditions of oppression and neglect that you just talked about in communities, really the birth of hip-hop. How did these policies directly influence hip-hop music and culture? And you just mentioned a couple of them.
Yeah, so hip-hop is the language and the voice of the oppressed. And so some of the first hit rap records really had a message, and I use that title on purpose, Melly Mel. The message was describing life under the heel, really, of the government. And so these records started to come out and voice our plight, our struggle, and that was the voice that started to be directed first sideways and then directly at the President of the United States.
Rap, hip-hop has often been misunderstood by administrations, but was it around the Clinton administration, if I remember correctly in the documentary, where the White House started paying attention really to what rap and the culture could do for them?
Yes, there's always been this relationship of, as Kaz, Grandmaster Kaz, the pioneering MC, says in the film, all right, you use me,
that's right.
I use you. Politics and rappers both need attention. They both need audience. They both brag a lot. They both talk about themselves a lot. And so there's been this sort of symbiotic relationship where they're sort of jostling to see who can get the upper hand. And Clinton was the first one to actually bring LL Cool J to his inauguration.
Do you think at this moment that rap and hip-hop continues to influence politics like it did, say, 15, 20 years ago?
I think it's more than ever.
More so.
And that's why I feel like this project is so timely, because we're coming in this huge election year. And as Maxine Waters, the congresswoman from California, says in the film, I don't think that rap has realized its power and influence yet. We could register more voters. We could have more influence on policies if we just mobilize and unify and learn how to use our influence. And so I think it's really a pivotal moment for the relationship between hip-hop and the White House now in 2024. I'm interested to see how it turns out.
It's a great documentary. Thank you for it. I appreciate you teaching me some things that I didn't know even about the time that I lived through. Jesse, thanks so much. Anscape's Hip Hop and the White House premieres exclusively on Hulu April 22nd.